cancer, but were given many reasons to be hopeful by our doctor. Apparently, Adam's tumor was contained, and once he had radiation and chemotherapy, his chances of survival were high, 80%. However, a short time after his chemo and radiation treatments were completed, the cancer returned with a vengeance. We brought him to a new doctor, who was appalled when he learned that the first doctor had not sent Adam's tumor to the Wilms Tumor Institute to receive the correct protocol for treatment. That first doctor's response was that he didn't know such a place even existed. Inexcusable. And so the cancer eventually took our son, our brother, from us. Like Lewis, I've been trying over and over again in the years since Adam's death to forgive this man. And like Lewis, I find it hard work that has to be done over and over again. Why should I not simply allow myself to condemn him? My anger extends beyond his lack of medical wisdom to the man himself, and I know that it's an indicator of a bitterness of spirit that, if left untended, can eat at my soul. To be a Christian means to forgive the inexcusable, because God has forgiven the inexcusable in me. And finally, a story of forgiveness that's so beautiful that it's beyond my ability to absorb fully. But each time I read it, I'm aware of how empowering forgiveness is to the forgiver. After apartheid was condemned in South Africa and Nelson Mandela became president, he appointed Archbishop Desmond Tutu to head the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Tutu chose an amazing, unlikely path to deal with all the terrible things that had happened during apartheid. He made a rule that if an oppressor faced his accusers and confessed his crime, he would not be prosecuted for that crime. People protested, but Mandela agreed with Tutu and insisted that the country needed healing even more than it needed justice. Here's one hearing before the commission. A policeman named Van de Broek confessed to shooting an 18-year-old boy and burning the body in order to destroy the evidence. Then, a few years later, he returned to that same house, and he took the boy's father, and as the wife watched, Van de Broek bound him to a woodpile, poured gasoline over him, and set him on fire. The courtroom was completely silent as the man's wife was called forward after Van de Broek's confession to respond somehow to it. "What do you want from Mr. Van de Broek?" the judge asked her. She replied that she wanted him to come to the place where they had burned her husband's body and gather up the dust so that she could give him a decent burial. Van de Broek nodded in agreement. Then she added one more request. "You have taken all my family away from me, and I have still love to give. I want you to come twice a month to my neighborhood and spend the whole day with me so that I can show you what love looks like. God has forgiven you, so I must too. I must make my forgiveness real." Slowly, everyone in the courtroom spontaneously began singing Amazing Grace, quietly at first, but then in full chorus. But Van de Broek did not hear it. He had fainted, overwhelmed by her forgiveness. We need to forgive because it's the only way out of our prison of anger and pain. I don't know what you have to forgive today. Maybe some of you have really big things that are hard to forgive, and not forgiving feels kind of sweet because, after all, you were wronged. Maybe the person you need to forgive doesn't even want your forgiveness or care whether you forgive him or her. But ultimately, that doesn't matter. What matters is that if you sincerely desire to imitate Jesus, you need to forgive your enemy, and then feel the relief and healing and beauty of letting go.